Hello and welcome, my friends, to Sanctuary in the Woods, to our very first annual meeting. And I want to welcome all of you who are here live, as well as those of you who will be seeing this recording on our Sanctuary Online dedicated YouTube channel. I want to welcome you today. We are incredibly excited that you're here with us today. Let me first go over an agenda and just share a little bit about how we have structured our day today. And there we go. How's that? So thank you for, oops, that does not quite look right, does it? Something happened there. I'm going to try that again. That a bit looks better. Sorry about that, my friends. Want to welcome you to our annual meeting on Sunday, November 22nd, and run you through our agenda. I'm going to open and welcome you and then give you a little state of the community, the sanctuary story from 2016 to today. That'll take only like 4 hours, actually more like 10 minutes. We have some gorgeous personal testimonies. Some of our friends have sent us in a video and recorded their experience of being a part of the sanctuary communities. We have those sprinkled through our presentations today. I'll hand it over to Barb Crabtree, who will talk about our database development, one of our big movements during 2020. Then Ken is going to talk about how we pivoted this year and how we birthed Sanctuary Online. We're going to go then to Cheryl, who's going to talk about our financials as well as our on-site development and our continuing development even during this time of COVID. And then also we're going to look ahead and give you a little bit of how we're going to finish 2021 and look into 2021 and beyond. Sorry, how we're going to finish 2020 and look into 2021 and beyond. And then, as we said, this should take about an hour. Any of you who'd like to ask any questions, the board and Barb are willing to stick around for a while and maybe 30 minutes or so after the formal presentation and answer any questions you might have. Just to introduce you to us, many of you have probably seen these other previous pictures of us hanging around our gorgeous sanctuary stone, but we thought in honor of today having this presentation be on Zoom that you should see us live on camera. And so many of you might know Cheryl, Tom and Ken have been living on the sanctuary property subdivision actually for nearly 20 years. Cheryl and I joined Ken and Tom. We moved back from Canada in 2016. And Barb joined as a consultant to the board and began living also on the property in 2019. And for many of you, once we were all gathered together and we knew where Sanctuary in the Woods was going to be, we had to create what Sanctuary would be. And it actually became quite clear to us quite quickly that we wanted folks to come to the property and rest because we as humans are tired. We wanted people to refresh, and that might be in our physicality, our emotional states, our spirituality, our relationships with self and other. And then where we really come in as coaches, as pastors, as teachers and facilitators is in the reframing. And we know that we can't change people's current life experience, but we do know that we can help people reframe and look at those circumstances differently. Then they can leave Sanctuary and re-engage their lives a little more gently, more consciously, more hope-filled because you were here with us at Sanctuary for a while. That really was our vision. And I'd love now to walk you through some of the highlights of each year, 2016 to the present. So 2016 was a year of assembling, right? And then unveiling our dream. As I said, Cheryl and I moved on to the property, living there in our tiny house with Tom and Ken. And we all went out, the four of us, to the MCC General Conference in Victoria, British Columbia. And we knew we had a good base of people that knew all of us because of a curriculum that we had been working with and we'd written and been working with for nearly a decade. So we tagged those folks and we said, if you liked CLM, you're going to love Sanctuary. We incorporated in 2016, and we also had our first fundraiser. In 2017, we began to build the community, and we completed our nonprofit 501c3 status. We began to bring people to the community to the property through community events, and we built that community. We had a Mardi Gras where I can't not mention Mark Crowder and John Mondrick, the outfits that you brought, and made that such an incredibly fun night. We had our very first Seder, and we wrote and dedicated a Sanctuary Seder Haggadah. We had our Oktoberfest, a massive undertaking in the fall, where we cleared a good portion of Lot 2, the property that Sanctuary will sit on. We actually walked all of the guests over to those Sanctuary grounds, and we asked them to envision our phased approach, a large building, large group meetings, something we could do programming in, we could rent out for weddings, family reunions, corporate events. Our second phase of the approach was to build individual retreat cabins where small groups could come, or folks that were working in the large building could stay, and also individual retreats would be possible. And then our third phase was to actually design, develop, and deliver on spiritual and educational programming. That was 2017. We were really ramping things up, and 2018, we began to actually expand our brand. We had a New Year's drop-in event. We had our second Seder. We had our first Sanctuary Easter, where there were nearly, I think, 80 people on the property that day to hear our vision. We launched Sanctuary at Sea, and thank you, Blake, for your gorgeous logos that you've gifted us so beautifully. Our design as we continue to build out our brand and build out our multiple logos. We in our Sanctuary at Sea was our largest fundraiser to date, and we really began the kind of a revenue generation for Sanctuary. And then right after we got back, we did our first Giving Tuesday campaign, and that actually broke the record we had just set for fundraising. And we stepped into thanking our major financial partners with a holiday reception. So everything seemed like it was going fabulously. And then in 2019, look at this, we really were living into our calling. We put the Texas cabin on site. This was with personal funds, not Sanctuary funds. But we began to have a conversation around building intentional community, people who would actually live on the homestead part of our property and would be in support of Sanctuary, the nonprofit, the retreat center. Barb actually joined up and became a consultant to the board and began living on the property. And in the first quarter of the year, we began our on-site educational programming. We offered 4 creativity retreats for Uprising MCC. We hosted the UFMCC Moderators Nominating Committee, and we actually had an on-site board training for MCC of San Antonio. We fully cleared the rest of the property. We put up a brand new fence. We were rocking on all cylinders. And then the floods came. And I can't even remember that without knowing what it took out of us. We really felt like we were moving forward in all the ways we were called to do so. And the flood didn't hurt Sanctuary in the woods at all, but it was all in the homestead, the personal area. It fully damaged half of the house, from floors to walls to cabinetry, everything that had to be pulled out and fully repaired. And we also said, we are so tired of this building flooding, this home flooding, that we wanted to fix it in a way that it was going to give it a forever fix. And so we want to thank Tony. I can see that you're here. Tony, you offered up to a GoFundMe because you knew that we had to pay for all of this with our personal funds. This wasn't really part of Sanctuary, except it was for where all of us actually live. Bud Twilley and his construction crew came out, and we just changed the entire landscape of in front of the house and around the house, such that We dug, I would almost call it a moat, actually. We built a brand new big sidewalk. We protected our trees, built a barrier of stone and gravel along the edge of the house to keep those raging waters away. And now they lovingly come into the land and they flow beautifully into the pond area. That took time. It took our emotions. It took just a lot of work, took a lot of personal funds, and we still bounced. By the time the fall hit, Ken and Barb and I went out to the MCC General Conference, and we had, thank you, Tom Cole, the best expo booth you have ever seen, with Texas flags and video and beautiful pictures. And we really relaunched ourselves from the 4 years ago when we had done that. We Sanctuary at Sea sailed again, and we even set our sights on a 2021 cruise to Alaska. We have another Giving Tuesday campaign, and we were able to again thank our major financial partners with a holiday reception. Oh man, that make just 2020, 2019 just makes me tired talking about it. We were going. 2020, we continued our momentum. We hired an engineering company called AE Parmia, and they began that initial research and all the reports and permits, all the preliminary site plans. Cheryl's going to talk to you a lot more about that a bit later. Construction continues. We recontoured the water flow that comes from the park under Burleson Manor Road and into our pond. Thank you, Michael and Dwayne. And again, things seemed to look like they were going swimmingly. And then COVID hit. We pivoted. We launched Sanctuary Online. We created a YouTube channel. We, instead of going camping, we went camping online. Ken is going to have loads more to tell you about that. And that, my friends, is the little arc of our journey through 2016 to 2020. Org chart, quite complicated. Don't get too detail oriented for us here. We just wanted to show you all the areas that we've built out in Sanctuary. And right now wanted to let you know that we have no paid staff. All of these functions are currently performed by our volunteers. And so in a very short period of time, this Sanctuary kind of umbrella, underneath it lives different areas of our brand and different ways we show up on our communities, with Sanctuary at Sea, Sanctuary on the Road for our campers, and now in 2020, Sanctuary Online. I would love to introduce to you and share a testimonial from a good friend of ours from across the pond, Jane Ann, from across the closed borders, right? But we have a quick video from Jane Ann Murray. I'm going to stop sharing and then reshare, making sure I've got the volume on. There you go. And Jane Ann.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say I'm Jane Ann from Toronto, Canada, and I met Joe and Cheryl. We actually shared in a business opportunity together, and what a
Greetings. This is Eric Taylor.
Sorry, friends. Sorry, Jane
good
Ann.
evening, everyone. I just wanted to say I'm Jane Ann from Toronto, Canada, and I met Joe and Cheryl. We actually shared in a business opportunity together, and what a marvelous time we had. But one evening they were sharing their vision. It was in a Mexican restaurant, I believe in Charlotte. Sanctuary at the time was only a blink in their eye. The future. It was a dream. They didn't even have they hadn't, it wasn't it was just a concept. But they said, this is why we're doing what we're doing, to make that dream a reality one day. So I want to just say that indeed has come true, and they have manifested that in such a major way with an incredible team. And I just want to thank you all personally, because I have never been on the property. However, I've participated in the educational seminars. I've been a part of the book club. I've participated with them, supporting them, encouraging them to do whatever it took. And I just love being a part of the sanctuary community. Yet I've never been on the property. It's on my bucket list, actually, to be on the property. So I'm very excited, and I want to say congratulations to the whole team who put so much work and effort into the dreams, but also into the refreshment. I've been refreshed. I've been rejuvenated. I've rested with these people, and I know that they're genuine, authentic, and they have an incredible dream that has yet to still be fulfilled because of COVID and all the restrictions around it. But I want to just say thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've contributed to my professional career as a marriage and family therapist. 42 years, caretakers got to take care of each other, and Joe and Cheryl, Ken, and the whole team have done that for me. So I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Jane Ann. My goodness, every time we listen to that, we start to cry. We so appreciate you and the time it took for you to just take time out of your day to offer that to us, and just share the love of how you have become a part of the sanctuary community. Thank you, my friend. Next up, I would like to, how do I say this, Barb? I know that back in the day, when people came aboard at Sanctuary, any events we had them sign up, and they would give us their addresses and give us their phone numbers. And I'm sure every time they showed up and we asked for that information again, they just got a little tired of fulfilling our requests. And what we did in 2019 and 2020 is we established and built out our database. Barb, as any of you know, and anybody who runs a business knows, if you're not measuring, you're not quite managing. And so, Barb, I would love it if you would share your insights on how really you have built out this database and made it such an important and integral part of Sanctuary.
Thanks, Joe. I'd be happy to. We started working on developing the database using church teams in the very, very end of 2019. And we really had kind of a functional database by the end of about the first quarter 2020. What that meant was, Joe, go ahead and advance there. There you go. We started off by entering our supporter contact information. So all of those sheets of paper with lists of names and email addresses that you just mentioned were the first things that we put into the database, so that we kind of knew who the circle of contacts consisted of. And that was really our first step. Joe, go ahead with the next one. Next, we entered in event participation history. So what I've been doing here is the blue arrows represent information that we're putting into the database, and the green arrows represent information that we can pull out of the database and use then. So with the event participation history, we know who came to Seder, we know who came to Easter, we know who comes to book clubs. And that helps us to be able to analyze and plan events that are more appealing and interesting for people. So go ahead. The next thing that we did was added email templates to replace constant contact when we eliminated that database and replaced it with church teams. So because of those email templates, we can send out the weekly emails that I think pretty much everyone on the call here today is receiving those weekly emails from us that tell us what's going on, what the programming that's coming up, and any interesting announcements or news that we want to share. The other thing that we get out of it by these weekly emails is the ability to develop custom email lists. So we can, therefore, if we want to communicate about particular programming with people that have an interest in that area, or let's say, for example, we were going to plan our next cruise and we wanted to send an email to people who had sailed with Sanctuary at sea before, we would be able to develop custom email lists using the database to do that. So go ahead, Joe. over the summer, we added text message reminders because when we were in our Tuesday Zoom sessions, people would say, oh, I got distracted, I got busy, I forgot about Sanctuary Online. I really wanted to see that program and I missed it. So we asked people if they thought they would like to get a text message reminder, and we have about 45 folks who said yes, they would appreciate that. So we began sending out the text message reminders using the database to get that done. So go ahead, Joe. Our next ad was to use the database to record and track donations. And what this will allow us to do is, as we record, maybe build programs that have fees associated with them, or if we have certain, have an appeal for a particular portion of expenses that we want to add to, this will allow us to better track what people are interested in and are interested in supporting. So go ahead with the next one. And then the latest thing that we've done is added custom data fields. The most recent one, for example, is a field that tracks whether an individual is clergy, maybe a lay worship leader, or a board member. Then, for example, if we offer board of directors training, which, by the way, is coming up in Q1 21, we can announce it to those who are using the custom email lists and the custom data fields. We can announce it to those who perhaps would be most interested in knowing that information. So that's the whirlwind tour. And Joe, the better news even really than all the ways that we've been able to leverage the capabilities in the database, the even better news is that we still have lots of room to grow. The package can do even more than we've been able to use it for so far. And we can go deeper and broader with the information in it to increase the effectiveness with which we utilize this resource. So.
Fabulous. And thank you, Barb. I appreciate that. Again, the database, and just real kudos to Barb. Many of you might not think databases are sexy, although she does. And I'm sure a few of you, maybe Kelly and Cheryl, also agree that the database can be sexy. How it has changed, how we've been able to manage and to run and to listen to you and connect with our folks and our communities has been really incredible. So I'd like to tee up another video here. And we have Reverend Brendan Boone coming to us from Daytona Beach, Florida in the US.
Greetings, my friends. This is Reverend Brendan Boone coming to you from Daytona Beach, Florida. There's so many things I could share with you about Sanctuary Online, but since I only have a small window, I just want to share a couple of things with you that have been most impressive to me. Sanctuary Online has been providing opportunities for exploring diverse topics and a wide range of subjects, offering a portal for growth and transformation, both personally and professionally. Sanctuary Online has been a place for listening, active listening, sharing, and learning together, always sprinkled with a little laughter, always sprinkled with a little fun, and always ending with a renewed sense of hope. Sanctuary Online is a place for connecting and or reconnecting, and also a place for becoming community, a community within a community within a community. Sanctuary Online has provided that place where we can discover and in some cases rediscover how to be and become in a new and ever-changing world. Sanctuary Online has and continues to be a huge gift in my life, impacting me in my ministry in ways that I never dreamed possible until I became actively involved. Sanctuary Online is that place I look forward to reading about and seeing about each and every week, because ultimately I know it's going to be a subject that's going to be most useful to me. I'm so grateful to all of the saints at Sanctuary in the Woods for providing this opportunity, for seeing this vision, and providing the opportunity for us to breathe life into this vision. I am and will remain eternally grateful for Sanctuary Online.
Oh gosh, thank you, Brendan. Same thing. I know exactly, Cheryl. Once again, every time I watch these testimonies, they bring us to tears of how we have been able to do what we want to do and to really connect in a way, especially when the world seemed to be turned upside down. we were able to reach out and provide space and services. And Ken, let me pop up into our screen again. And we want to thank, like I said, thank Brendan. But Ken, if you remember, a minute ago, I shared that we had a kind of a phase one plan. This was in our pre-COVID world. And we had phase one, meaning build this large building for meeting space, for programming, for corporate rental possibilities. Then move to phase two, where we would build some cabins and some sleeping space for small groups and for people who wanted to come on individual retreats. We have had so many people calling, and we've had to say, we're not ready yet. Phase three was then going to be to design and deliver educational and spiritual programming. We knew this has been our calling to offer this into the world and to serve our communities in this way. And then, Ken, let's see. Then COVID happened. And I will say a good friend of our community a long time ago said, Joe, you can always have your way as long as you have more than one way. Thank you, Lily Brock and Ken Martin. Why don't you just share our pivot?
Okay, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Brendan. Yes, COVID showed up at the moment we were in preparation for our third annual on-site Seder dinner, and which was scheduled for April the 8th. And when we realized that we were not going to be able to do that, even though we had never had a Zoom event before, and even though this one presented really unique challenges, because with the Seder, we asked people all over the country to share by reading different parts of the Seder story. We just bit the bullet and said, we're going to try to do this. And much to our own surprise, it actually worked and it was successful. And so then, like so many others, particularly like church communities, we had to make a decision about, are we just going to be, are we going to disappear during this time? Or are we going to find a way to continue to be present and relevant during this time? And so our board of directors met several times. And what we decided to do was literally to flip those first and third priorities there, so that instead of building the building where other groups could come and do their own programming, because we now knew groups were not going to be able to gather, we decided to start with creating our own programming that originated with us. So we literally flipped 1 and 3 there. So our Sanctuary Online Tuesday evening programs began on May the 5th. At first, we only planned for the 4 Tuesdays in May, but they were so successful and we got such good response that we just kept going, literally going from week to week at the beginning. In fact, we said that building Sanctuary Online has not been unlike being thrown into space with all the parts of an airplane and having to build it while we are in fact flying it at the same time. But as we built, something began to happen. A profile began to emerge. We began to see an identity emerging. We began to find a clear purpose for what we were doing. And this is what it looked like. If we can see the next slide, please. There were many of our programs which we looked at and said, okay, this is really informational. Like, for example, our session on coming out of the COVID closet, or when we had Darcel and Carly, who together have more than 60 years of service in the US Postal Service, helping us sort out all of that confusion that was around the role of the Postal Service during our most recent election. Sometimes our programming looked more educational, like the 3-week series that we did on understanding gender as the cornerstone of human sexuality. And as other people were trying also to learn Zoom, we were actually presenting Zoom training. Thank you, Joby. Sometimes our programs were more inspirational, like with Dr. Marsha McPhee, or when Reverend Dr. Nancy Wilson taught us what bird watching meant to her as a spiritual practice. Sometimes we couldn't keep entertainment from just bouncing in on Tuesday evenings. Like, for example, when Sanctuary on the Road became Sanctuary Online, and Sue and Ann actually took us camping online with the help of some veteran campers like Deborah and Mary. Sometimes we were more challenged by the presentations, as when Reverend Elder Lily Brock, using her model of the change cycle, challenged us to look at the changes that were really happening in our lives and what we needed to do in order not just to survive, but to thrive in what is happening in our world right now. And when Dr. Nick Patras helped us face very candidly many of the mental health issues that are being presented by the world in which we live today. But the result of all of this was that we saw a community emerge. We saw an online community coming together, relying on each other, depending on each other, sharing with each other. So before we move into the future of Sanctuary Online, I'd like to share with you just some of the results of what these first 6 months have been for us. On the bottom of this chart, you see in blue the actual number of unique accumulated visits to our Tuesday evening programming. Almost 1,000 people joined us. And all of our programs are recorded, and they are then uploaded to our dedicated YouTube channel, like this one will also be. We've had over 500 visits to that channel, so that our total number of individual contacts with people in the last 6 months has been 1,434. If you look over to the right, you will see that during this time we have been able to produce a total of 28 different Tuesday evening programs that in addition to our own staff, and we're almost always present as presenters here, we have welcomed 17 guest presenters during this time. We have had visitors on Tuesday evening from 4 different countries and 21 different United States, and we have increased the number of contacts in our database over the last 6 months by 33%. Thank you.
Yeah.
So looking forward to the future now, I'd like to show you that on the left you will see a pie chart that indicates our hard weekly expenses, internet and Zoom marketing database, guest fees, thank yous. The hard cost for each of these presentations is somewhere around $88. And then if you look to the right, you will see those hard costs, and added to those an estimated 10 hours of staff volunteer, that's really minimum, staff time of planning, researching, contact with guests, our weekly staff planning meetings. If those were being monetized at $20 an hour, that would be at least $200 a week. So our cost for each of these weekly productions is somewhere between $280 and $300 a week. Thank you. So now when we look forward to the future, I'd like to share 3 things with you just briefly. First of all, thanks to Barb in that database, we have real data now about which of the features we have introduced during the last year have really solid followings, have really core followers, so that we can carry those over into the new year. Those will include things like the book club, which Cheryl leads, things like our series entitled Meet the Author, where we have been able to introduce and interview award-winning acclaimed authors like Dr. Mel White, Dr. Toby Johnson. Second, we are going to continue what we think of as our timely information segments, where we try to bring you information about current events that feel to us like they're more than just part of a 24-hour news cycle. For example, coming up in the near future, early in the year, the Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks the activity of identified hate groups here in the United States, recently reported that there has been a 40% increase in the activity of those groups that target religious and ethnic minorities. Specifically, they target Jews, they target Muslims, they target Asians, and an increase in vandalism against all of the worship houses of those people. And so we're preparing a very important two-part series early in the year. The first will be entitled How the Great Religions Began. The second one will be entitled What the Great Religions Believe, because we believe that the more we understand about people who believe differently from us, the less susceptible we will be to all of those efforts to try to make us fear each other and be suspect of each other and even hate each other just because of what we believe. Another example will be that we are researching and preparing for a segment on inclusive community. We're very conscious that we here at Sanctuary in the Woods are part of an experiment in intentional community, not just that we are creating Sanctuary in the Woods, but at the same time, we're creating an intentional residential community here that will support Sanctuary in the Woods moving into the future. Because as we look at the economic and the social and the climate changes that are coming at us very, very rapidly now, the idea of being able to live more responsibly, more communally, is very interesting to a lot of people. And so we're going to be looking at a lot of the options that are involved in that. And just one more example, we're going to be celebrating Advent during the first 4 Tuesdays of December, but on the 5th Tuesday of December, December the 29th, we're going to present one of the most important segments that we have ever done. It is entitled Black Lives Matter and Black Culture Matters. We are asking several leaders in our African American communities to share with us the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, because we're going to be right in the middle of the 7-day celebration of Kwanzaa at that time. And the founder of Kwanzaa has said that these 7 principles are the very heart of Black culture. So by that time, we will already have lighted all of the candles in the Advent wreath, and we will also then be lighting the 7 black and red and green candles of the Kwanzaa Kinara. So the third thing I want to share with you about the future is that we also have some interesting, exciting ideas about future features that we want to introduce to you. For example, one of them is called Meet the Artist. We're working on a feature in which we will introduce you to visual artists like painters and photographers and their work, to artisans like jewelry makers and potters and their work, to musicians and recording artists and their work. So finally, what I want to share with you about the future is that if we've learned anything during 2020, it is that there is no way for us to predict what 2021 is going to bring. But this is our promise to you, that whatever it is, we're going to be here on Tuesday evenings with the very best information and with the most valuable resources that we can possibly share with you. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. You're getting a little silent applauses all throughout that. Thanks, Ken, for sharing about our 2020 pivot. We really are proud of all we've been able to do, learning as we go, right? Any of you who maybe saw our earlier shows, you know that we've kind of gotten a little stronger as we've gone through just a real vertical learning curve is how we put it. So Ken, thanks so much for that. I would like to tee up one more of our testimonies, this time sent in by Dr. Aaron Oaksall of Reno, Nevada. And here comes Aaron.
Hello, my name is Dr. Erin Oaksel from Reno, Nevada, and I was first invited to Sanctuary Online by my dear friend and business colleague, Joe Bell. And this is what I know. In these very difficult, weird, tumultuous, invigorating times that we live in, I was looking for an opportunity to have a community where I could really come together with people that were interested in discussing, sometimes difficult conversations. I wanted a safe place to do that. I wanted a place where I could level up and surround myself with other people who were willing to, what I like to say is, grapple just with topics and issues that are going on in the world. And what I have come to love about Sanctuary Online is it's not only a place for that, it's a place for entertainment, education, inspiration. I mean, we have contests of who has the cutest dog, and then the next week we're talking about racism, and then the next week we're going over a book club of just the coolest book. And it's just the coolest people from all over, from all walks of life. Every week I walk away thinking, for some reason, it just feels like home. So thank you, Sanctuary Online. I love this community. Hello.
There we go. There you go. Thanks to Erin again. So many of you have taken the time to send us in a video. And as I mentioned a minute ago, if you're not measuring things, you can't manage them. That's how we talked about Barb and this amazing work that she's done with the database. But I would be remiss if I didn't turf this now to my lovely wife and say, Cheryl, numbers tell the truth, don't they? Numbers really do tell the story of any organization. And we are in incredibly good hands that you are managing those numbers for us. So would you like me to tee up your first slide, honey?
That would be awesome. Thank you. And I also just want to say thank you, Erin, for your support and encouragement. You're just so fabulous. You make me smile. And yes, it is about the finances, and you'll be able to see the numbers here as we go through. But what I want to talk through is what made those numbers happen. So let's start with 2016, because it's all about the beginning, right? And as has been mentioned before, that was when Sanctuary in the Woods became Sanctuary in the Woods, Inc. And we were established as a corporation and filed for our nonprofit status, which we received in February 2017. That's also when we established our bank account, our business phone, our credit card processing. And then we took advantage of the MCC General Conference. We went to Victoria to present and market Sanctuary in the Woods. So as with all new companies, we had startup costs and marketing expenses. Then it was 2017. So what's the first thing a nonprofit needs to do? Well, fundraising, right? So with Denise Bain as our head cheerleader and project manager, and with core team members Liz and Carly Diaz, we held our first major fundraising event, Oktoberfest. It was a huge effort, and we were blessed to have lots of volunteers to help us make it happen, including Irene Weatherby, who came all the way from Canada and spent a week with us working nonstop. Then another huge blessing to cap off our Oktoberfest event, Tony and Leanna Gallucci created and donated our signature sanctuary stone, which now welcomes everyone as they enter the property. So financially, there were a lot of preparation expenses for Oktoberfest, and it brought lots of donations. The biggest impact of Oktoberfest was that monthly financial partners began to join us. In 2018, we reviewed our investments in credit card processing and business phone, and we decided they weren't giving us the return on those investments that we expected. So we made a decision to cancel those contracts as soon as they were up in 2019. We also realized that Constant Contact was a great tool for email newsletters and marketing, but it didn't provide us an effective database management system. So we started researching, and as Barb indicated, church teams was our answer. We migrated from Constant Contact to church teams. And with 2018 income, we were able to pay for a lot of our original startup costs. Our major financial impacts, Cruise and Giving Tuesday, were excellent fundraisers and encouraged more monthly financial partners to join us. And my sister, Kelly Robertson, who's a retired CPA, started doing our financial reports, a huge blessing. And you know what? I love working with my sister. So that was awesome for me. We started in 2019 with those on-site retreats that they've talked about earlier. And we had a blast creating the creativity and spirituality retreats for Uprising. Those retreats provided our first revenue from programming. And with food, a prominent feature of those retreats, Tom said his kitchen crew volunteers, including his sister Darcel and Darlene Hernandez, made it happen. Then Tony Krug volunteered to head up our 2019 cruise. He and his team made it so much fun and created great income. A huge shout out to the team members. Marilyn Wagner kept us named and organized with t-shirts, magnetic door calendars, and lanyard name pockets. Bill Cashin organized into a group chat so that helped us find each other on that big ship. And Ellen Hurst, who although was unable to join us on the cruise, she bought us all the most amazing, always keeps it cold Sanctuary at Sea tumblers. Bill Young and Blake Ruggett designed our logo and donated the t-shirts. Tony was the most amazing leader and liaison with Carnival, and I just loved that cruise. This team did a bazillion other things for the cruise, and they all continue to support us in many other ways. I could go on and on about this team. Professional, fun, generous. They're some of our amazing Sanctuary partners, and together with many others, it's our partners and our supporters that make it possible to continue to create and build Sanctuary in the Woods. So financially, 2019 income allowed us to move forward with land preparations for our physical retreat facilities. Thanks to a referral by Danny Duckworth and Marilyn Wagner, we were able to hire Dale Cook to clear the land. When he was done, we could easily see how to integrate the retreat facilities into the beautiful trees and land. And we were able to buy new fencing that provides both safety and security. Last but not least, the MCC conference in Orlando provided another opportunity to share Sanctuary, and we gained lots of new contacts and supporters. Then in 2020, when we began to see the COVID-19 impacts, we found ourselves engaging our own motto: rest, refresh, reframe, and re-engage. We took a deep breath and we asked ourselves, how can we help? As we began Sanctuary Online programming, we saw it first and foremost as an outreach. And in this time of financial hardship, we wanted everyone to be able to come. So we made an intentional decision that we wouldn't charge for this programming. And we've been blessed because Sanctuary Online has dramatically increased our relationship capital. Now, even though our priorities shifted dramatically and Sanctuary Online became a primary focus, we wanted to continue moving toward physical retreat facilities. So we began working with AE Parmia Engineering. And I'll talk more about that endeavor in our next section. Even though the COVID crisis impacted our monthly donations and we had to cancel our camping trip in Arkansas, 2019 income has provided us a cushion. And we're still hoping to get substantial donations from our Giving Tuesday campaign. This is allowing us to continue with Sanctuary Online and with construction preparations. To wrap up, we're blessed to have so many volunteers and supporters. We'd never be this far along without your time, energy, and belief in us. Thank you so, so very much. Because of you, we have positive cash flow and we have a long list of things we want to do. We're committed to honoring all our supporters by focusing and spending on what they say are the most impactful projects. Currently, Sanctuary Online and individual retreat facilities.
And I'm muted. Thank you, Cheryl. That's a lot of numbers packed into a very short period of time. And yet you make them really understandable so we can see the arc of our story within our financials. Thanks so much for that. We have yet another video testimonial. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and bring up another friend of ours hailing all the way. This is Eric hailing all the way from North Hollywood, California.
Greetings. This is Eric Taylor from North Hollywood, California. This is one of my dogs, Daisy. Usually this is a spot that I sit at when I'm going online with Sanctuary Online. And I've really enjoyed it this past year. I look forward to 2021. I enjoy what I've been learning, enlightening, the book groups, hearing discussions, and being very open. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Eric. I just love these. I love this. So Cheryl, I'm going to pop it right back to you, and you can move us forward on what we've been doing on property.
All right, thank you. And I love you, Eric. We love seeing you and your pups every week. Thank you.
We do.
So what's happening with the land? Well, I want to tell you a little bit of background of where we've started here. So when we started clearing the land, we thought we lived outside of city and county jurisdictions. So we'd have some minimal regulations and constraints as we started to build. Two things changed our thinking. First, Dale Cook, who cleared the land, told us a story of someone he knew who, like us, wanted to serve others with his property. When that gentleman encountered the regulatory requirements, he was overwhelmed and he ended up abandoning his project. Dale advised us to do some research. Then Bill and Blake, building a new house just on the other side of Sanctuary, told us about lots of permitting requirements that they were required to follow. So I began to research. I spoke with several city, county, and state regulatory offices who inevitably would send me to another one. It was very frustrating. The information was contradictory and it did not make sense. Finally, I confronted a county representative, and when I expressed my frustration, he agreed. And he added, it's even more frustrating because as the regulations and jurisdictions continue to change, and they change constantly. So I asked him, how am I supposed to navigate this? And he said, find a local engineering firm, because they know this process and they keep up with the changes. So how to find the right engineering firm? Most were busy and most did larger commercial projects. But I was delighted when I found AE Parmia Engineering, a small company, woman-owned and LGBT friendly. The owner, Mia, came to Sanctuary and met with our board of directors. We loved her approach and she loved the land. So in December 2019, we hired her company to do a property condition assessment. Now this assessment was enlightening. It described the many facets of the property and the several jurisdictions that had authority over our building development process. That report was completed just before COVID began to impact us. Still, 2 months later, we decided to take the next step, and we signed the next proposal with AE Parmia for a topographic survey and a preliminary land plan. The survey was completed in September, and it described in images the trees, pond, and the grading of the land. Now we're reviewing the draft preliminary land plan. Using the topographic survey, we're working together with AE Parmia to determine the best locations for roads and buildings. And we expect this to be completed by the end of this year. The next step will be septic design, and we've hired Rainbow Septic. They'll begin their design as soon as the land plan is complete. It will likely take 2 months, January and February. And once that design is complete, AE Parmia can create a site plan with the associated permit requirements and submit it for approval by all required jurisdictions. The design will likely take 3 months, and the approval process typically takes 3 months. So we'll expect to have that done in August. In September, we hope to request and receive construction bids. Our chosen general contractor will then create a construction plan and apply for a building permit. We hope to have a building permit before the end of 2021. Once we have a building permit, construction can begin. And if all goes well, we could have retreat facilities for individual retreats by mid-2022. We would like to have those facilities ready for the 2022 MCC General Conference, which is scheduled to be held here in Austin. Right now, with our current funding, we can pay for everything through site plan approval. Construction will require a major investment. It's our intention to apply for a construction loan. One of our greatest assets is that we own the land clear and free, and this should help us get a loan. Our second greatest asset is intentional community. With the original vision for Sanctuary, we have always envisioned an intentional community living on the community land, supporting each other, and the nonprofit Sanctuary in the Woods. Throughout this whole process with AE Parmia, Ken, Tom, Joe, and I, as community, have engaged AE Parmia to complete sister reports for the community side of the property. Although paid for separately, not with Sanctuary funds, doing the research and reporting at the same time has created savings for both Sanctuary and community reports. As we get closer to construction, we're also in negotiation with individuals who share this vision with us and want to live in this intentional community. And we're all very excited to see this happen. Now, Joby, I think you have another fabulous video, eh?
Really, Cheryl, it's almost as if we've rehearsed this and you know what's coming. Okay, you're right. I do have one more fabulous video from a good friend of our community. Let me make it bigger. Take it away. Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz Diaz from Austin, Texas. Sanctuary Online is a way I have stayed connected to family and friends this year. Thank you for being creative and consistent during this unsettled time. I look forward to Tuesday nights, Sanctuary Online. Thank you so much. Love y'all.
Woohoo! And we love you. Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much for that. Oh my goodness, friends, what a time. I'm very aware of our timing, but I do want to just offer a little bit of how we plan to finish 2020 strong and cast a bit of vision into 2021. And one of the ways, I think in the very beginning, we mentioned that beyond being a nonprofit retreat center, Sanctuary in the Woods is also what's called an oasis community, which means we have a professional partnership with the denomination that many of are a part of, Metropolitan Community Churches. And this year, they, in a year of COVID, they've gotten as creative and have kind of garnered resources from many different sources for Advent. And we have been asked, and we're really happy to join MCC and also, as usual, move beyond the walls of MCC with an incredible Advent series. So there's Jane Ann again, and Edie and Mandy. There you are, Stedney, Kim and her daughters. We have people participating throughout the first 4 weeks of Advent. And I think the best way to really show you that is to offer up the host of our Advent time. And Ken, I'm going to share your screen and share my screen and share a video that you have done about this. If I've got a dog at my feet trying to confuse us. Hold on here.
Hi, I'm Ken Martin. I'd like just a couple of minutes of your time to invite you to join us here at SanctuaryOnline.live for the first 4 Tuesdays of December for our very first celebration of Advent. Advent has always been my very favorite season of the year because it's about excitement, it's about anticipation, it's about preparation and the belief that God is about to do something amazing and wonderful, and whatever that is, we don't want to miss it. So we're going to begin each of those Tuesday evenings by lighting the Advent wreath. This is our wreath that we will be lighting here at Sanctuary in the Woods. If you already have a wreath, that's wonderful. If you'd like to get one, you can go to Amazon.com. They have hundreds of them. Every price point, every size that you can imagine. And you can really participate with us just by reading along with the liturgies that will be on your screen that night. You don't necessarily need a wreath. Each one of our wreath lighting ceremonies is going to be led by a family or individuals across the United States and Canada. You know, each of the 4 weeks of Advent has its own theme, and this year we're going to be celebrating the 4 traditional Advent themes of hope, peace, joy, and love. And then immediately after that, I'm going to take a few minutes, 10 or 15 minutes maybe, to help all of us understand what all of the different great living religions believe and teach and practice about these different themes. For example, in the first week, what's the difference in the way Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism believe? What's the difference in what they believe about hope? What do we preach and teach about hope? How do we practice hope? And then the rest of that hour is going to be a different fun, interactive, seasonal activity of some kind. And then we're going to end each evening with a very special musical guest sharing the music of this season with us. And wait until you see some of the people that we're going to have singing for you. So that's 7 p.m. Central Time, December 1st, 8, 15, and 22. All you have to do is go to SanctuaryOnline.live. 2020 has not been the best year for many of us. So let's enlist this thing together and let's begin next year with hope and with peace and with joy and with love. I can't wait to see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ken. We are really looking forward to finishing 2020 strong and then reestablishing, what our intentions are for 2021. Thank you again to each of you who are here tonight with us. Let me share my screen and finish these last few slides up. I need to get this into. There we go. Just a real big thank you that beyond, and Ken, you mentioned this earlier, that even after the Advent series, we're incredibly excited on December 29th, the last Tuesday of the year, that we will actually be inviting a number of leaders from our African American community to teach us and to bring to you actually our 35th Sanctuary Online evening, Black Lives Matter and Black Cultures Matter, and learn together how to celebrate Kwanzaa. So we're incredibly excited about that. And into 2021, just want to tell you, as Ken reiterated earlier, beyond the ideas and the excitement we have around expanding Sanctuary Online, we also are planned to keep our Tuesday nights free for all the reasons that Cheryl shared earlier, how important that is for us to keep on allowing people to resource us, to get to know us. And as you saw, in just a short 6 months, we were able to expand our network, our database, by 33% through the initiative of Sanctuary Online. I think, Barb, we're on average, it's almost 3 or 4 new people every week that meet us and that join us and become part of our Sanctuary community. So we plan to keep Tuesday night free. We do plan to adjust our business model to capitalize on what we've built and monetize what we've built by doing some deeper and more extensive programming on an additional night of the week. We may do some series that we request people pay for, or maybe even a subscription to things like that. And we are really excited about hopefully offering CLM in its entirety, 18 sessions, 3 courses in online in the fall of 2021 or even early 2022. But please know, we just we want to offer that we have always lived within our budget. Our guiding financial principle is to spend the money that we have. And so, as you know, the income that comes in tonight, we've shared from our from donors. People give one time. We have people who are monthly financial partners with us. We have our fundraising programs. I'll just remind you, December 1st, you'll be hearing from us on Giving Tuesday. Any ways we can develop that, all is spent with a lot of intention and conscientiousness and care on the development of the property itself, on now the new Sanctuary Online expenses, and on operations and administration. I promise you, as we increase revenue through development programs, through monetizing our Sanctuary Online and either other programs that we offer, we will expand our programming. We will develop our property even more quickly. And dear God, we hope to add staff to help us out a little bit. And tonight, as we come to you in the many expressions of Sanctuary Online, we just want to say, first off, thank you to all of those who came today, to all those who are watching us on our YouTube channel, and especially to Jane Ann, to Rev Brendan, to Dr. Eric and Aaron, Eric and Liz for your video testimonials for us today. We want you to remember one thing. If you just take one thing away, we really believe that there is no time like the present where Sanctuary really fills a need in our changing and ambiguous and often confusing and challenging world. And we do believe that with our current staff and the dedication of our many, many, many volunteers, that we are truly prepared and positioned to live into the original vision we were given and gifted with so many years ago. So my friends, as we move into a time of questions and conversation, I know that many of you need to drop off because you have wonderful, busy lives. And Barb, I hope you've been managing that chat room over there. I will sneak back on and we will begin a time of up to 30 minutes or so where we're willing to stay online and chat with you. And for those of you who have to drop off, thank you again for coming. God bless you for your support and your prayers. We feel them every day, and especially as we leap into the craziness of doing new things like heading to sea or heading camping or canceling camping or heading online or camping online or whatever that we're going to do next. Thank you so much. We love you. We feel you. We appreciate you. You indeed are the wind in our sails.
Joby?
Yes, ma'am.
I have 2 things. One is, did you have a slide that you want to show them that shows what they could do if they wanted to find something to do for us?
Oh, Sharon, you're so good.
And then the second thing is, I think we have somebody we need to sing happy birthday to.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second here, because I'm going to find some slides for us. I have so many things going on my computer right now. It just cracks me up. There we go. Holy cow, look at that. So it says, how can you help? And then it says, we're so glad you asked. So www, please help is not a real website, but we do need help with our website. So if you know anybody who is great at website design, have them email us, talk to us, call me, anything. Our email address is talktous@sanctuaryinthewoods.com. Any of you can become a monthly financial partner. We love that. It helps us with a little bit of cash flow and being able to know how to keep the lights on, the doors open, and the programming coming. Also, we will hit you up on December 1st on Giving Tuesday. We are so excited to just blow up all of our records with our campaign this year. You can always volunteer, especially as we expand our Sanctuary Online events into 2020 and 2021. If you have any desire to help in that arena, once again, you can chat us, call us, or email us. And it looks like we're trying to create a development team in 2021 that will really help us to build the revenue we're going to need as we move into a time of construction. Cheryl, did I hit them all?
Awesome. Thank you.
Maybe now we do.
And
Cheryl,
now
are you gonna
that
do our
happy birthday. Where's
Why don't-
Bill?
Why don't you
Yeah.
read that, Cheryl?
No, okay, but there he is right there. Good. You might
Bill!
have a spotlight.
Woo!
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy
birthday, dear
Bill!
Happy birthday to you.
Oh my God. Bill, please know that the intention behind that was much better than the sound. The first night that we went camping online, we had a sing-along and we went, this is not going to work doing it the way we had planned. So pretty soon we had audio piped in because it was much better than the little delays we have because of our internet. Oh, Barb, I wonder if I should throw it to you as you've been able to watch the chat. I have not been able to watch the chat, running 16 different videos and PowerPoints. If you want to lift up maybe some of these initial questions folks had.
Yeah, one specific question from the chat box was to share a little bit more about the Zoom internet, the virtual camping trip and what we did with that and how we all came together for camping.
Well, I can certainly speak to that. We originally, even Tony, I think you were helping us with our first, when we sought out great sites, and we actually had booked, sorry, somebody thinks Zoom shouldn't last this long. We actually rented an entire campground, didn't we, and Tony, just south of Hot Springs,
Arkansas.
Yep, it was beautiful. It was on a lake. We had beautiful cabins as well as, Cheryl, I might need your help, honey. We
I
had
will be
beautiful,
right there.
I'll come help.
Kelly, come get this dog. Anyway, we had sites for big campers, sites for cabins. And then as it became clear that COVID restrictions were not going to lift, we decided to go online. And that might have been one of the craziest decisions we made. Thank God Sue and Ann agreed to be our hosts. And then we made contests each night. So there were contests for best recipes, contests for great photographs. Come here. Thank you, dear God. This puppy. This is Georgia, the newest member of the Sanctuary team, who is not quite a great working partner yet. But she's trying. She's just 10 weeks old, so she's very little. Anyway, we had many contests. We had sing-alongs. We had a camper song or two each night. Jane Ann, I know you won a bunch of who knew you were the camper you were, right? But many of our folks sent in recipes and photographs. Each night was done as different theme. And we actually camped from our homes. Mary Beth, you guys came for 3 nights in August. And we called it Sanctuary on the Road Online. The goal, back to Tony, I'll give Tony you credit. We had hoped to do an Alaska cruise in 2021. And so we had this great idea to go camping in 2020 so folks could save up their money, as Alaska cruises are going to be quite expensive. Camping is less expensive. We had a great plan, Tony. And then what was that called? Oh, global pandemic. So we doggone did it anyway. That's my answer. Hope that's helpful.
And the videos are on YouTube if you are interested in seeing what online camping looks like.
God bless you. It's Yes, they're all on the YouTube channel. Thanks, Barb.
There's some really cute pet contest pictures on there.
I could try. Yes.
Maya was a winner. Weren't you, baby? You were a winner. That was before Georgia Brown came on the scene. You're going to have competition now.
Now she's got cuteness competition. Absolutely. So, any other questions over there, Barb, that you might flip up to?
That was it that came in the chat box. Bill and Blake just asked about the cruise for 2020, if there was going to be a cruise in 2021, and I was just typing an answer to that. I think the answer to that is not for 21, mostly because we're not sure what's going on with the virus and how that's going to work. So we'll regroup around that, and as soon as it feels like it's safe and things are going to move forward, and we have some certainty around it, then we'll get another cruise on the books.
And as soon as Tony agrees to be our cruise diva again, because I'm not cruising unless that man's in charge. You put a great team together, Tony. I'm still so thankful to God that we had those cruises before COVID. I would never have understood how fast people can come together as community, how much laughter can take place in 7 days, and how much rest and relaxation. Tony, a lot of that credit goes to you and the teams that you built.
Thank you.
It's great.
Any other questions tonight or even comments on our very first annual meeting?
I learned so much about what I didn't know. And so I feel thrilled to be up on it and to see your continued vision. So it's like way beyond what you could ask, think, or imagine from those initial conversations we had so long ago. But I just really love the information and the way you all presented. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jane Ann. Yeah, absolutely. We
You guys worked really hard. For unpaid staff, you guys are amazing. I need your volunteership. I need to give you an award for volunteering.
Well, I think we're going to double our salaries all today. Right now, let's just triple them.
From 0 to 2.
Yeah, from 0 to 0 times 3.
we all know how much it takes to put on these kinds of events, whether they're online or in person. It's I don't know how much time you're spending per week, but I know it's massive. And so to all of you who are doing it because of your vision, and I believe God's going to honor all of that and bless you 100-fold as time carries on. So I really believe that strongly for you guys, and I'll pray to that end.
Oh, thank you, Jane Ann.
Thank you, Jane Ann. And as we've said, it's not just, the 5 of us. We have had so much help and support from so many people in so many ways. And I mean, many of the people that we talked about, they've done not just one thing, but a billion things for us. Yeah. And, we don't have the wherewithal to thank all the people that are doing things for us. I mean, it's amazing. And, yeah, and I'm going to go mute now so I don't disturb you.
That speaks to the quality of the community you're building, though, with great care and with intention. So, yeah, I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
I have all this joy, but grief still lurks right behind. I never know what's going to trigger a tear. So I apologize, because in the video, I was very aware and didn't hear it, that my voice was cracking the whole time. I was like on the verge of tears the whole time. But it's because friends like yourselves and the team have supported me from a distance. My prayers have been answered far more than I could ask or think. And so I want the same for you. And so I apologize for the cracking voice. It doesn't usually crack.
Jane Ann.
No, don't apologize.
It's all good.
Not to worry.
Kristen, was your hand going up, or were you scratching, or
I don't think I was raising my hand, but I was thinking very loudly, so maybe you heard it. I found this very informative, both to know where you've come from and where you're going. And I'm excited that you invited me somewhat recently. I'm excited to follow along with more of these. But we have to wrap up soon because I haven't finished my book yet for Tuesday.
I love you. And see, but Kristen, you're a great example in that you and I worked together years and years and years ago. And
Yeah.
one of our events, I think it was the book club, that was just one of the advertising pieces. It happened to be a book you were interested in. And then when you came on that night, you saw that one of our next presenters was a company that you and I both worked for, and then you're still here,
Well, yeah, and
that's it.
you can't really how timely this is all for me. So it's something I hope to see many of you on many more meetings.
Yeah, well, you are just an example, like I said, of how
Fell into it.
how we fell into it, and yet just love seeing your smile and love seeing you be here and contribute. And yes, get that book done. Cheryl's counting on you for Tuesday night. Anybody else, my friends? I know it's right here at 90 minutes now, and we tried to get all that into that first hour, and we're still looking at, here's Sobel. Share, there's Sobel. Sobel says hello from the annoying puppy. Anything at all? I'll close it up, my friends. I really appreciate it. Again, we all do so much. Like we said, Jane Ann, your prayers. Darcel, as a presenter for us. Darcel, you're going to be a part of our Advent series. I'm pretty sure I know that you're singing for us, so we're incredibly excited to not sing with you. So it doesn't sound like Bill's happy birthday. It'll sound like your gorgeous voice. Cindy, as extended family, coming on over and over and over. Thank you so much for that. We just appreciate y'all so very much.
Gonna sign off. Take care, Joe. Take care, team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Be
everybody.
well, be safe.
Love you,
Thank you.
Papa.
Good to see everybody.
Love you, cousin. Love you,
you,
brother
sweetie.
Tom.
Love you,
Love you,
Darcel.
Dar.
Hey,
I
Brother
love the
Ken.
ending to these.
Love you, Cindy.